Welcome back to part 3 because I keep running out of space when I'm recording, so I keep having to break it up into different parts to make a series. So yeah, the amateur that is myself. But anyway. So I keep asking my doctor for a referral to a specialist to see a scoliosis, or at least a spinal specialist for adults. I keep getting turned down. My doctor she referred me to one specialist about, has to be close to a year ago now. And that specialist was no longer taking new patients, and my doctor failed to tell me that. I had to check up with them and call them back for them to update me as to what happened. And then after that, it was just left up to me to be like, this is who I want to see. Because they have no idea. They can't do the research themselves. So I look on the internet and I find that there are 0 scoliosis specialists in Ontario, where I live. Not like specifically my region, but the whole province of Ontario. For adults, anyways. So yeah. I find a couple spinal specialists, which is, I guess, the next best thing. So then I go back to my doctor, and this is recent, actually. And I say, how's that specialist coming along? So I wanted to see what I could get, And she tells me that they have contacted another specialist about 7 months prior to this appointment I'm talking about. But that specialist has not gotten back to them. Now, they haven't told me that. If I hadn't asked about that, they would never have told me that, ever. I don't get it. Wouldn't you keep your patients updated as to how the process is going along? I don't get it. So I recently went for my physical. Last week, I believe. And so I've been having 2 new pains. They've all been recent, within the last 2 to 3 weeks. The one is it feels like a nerve pain. It starts in my, lower back and goes down my right hip into my right leg. And yeah, it's just a very strong, sharp nerve pain that, once triggered, is very painful, and to the point where it's paralyzing. I cannot move in certain positions or in certain ways when that happens. And that's new. And I don't have it all the time. It's just, it decides almost when it's gonna happen. But it's so strong that even when it's not there, I can still feel where it happened. I'm also having this pain where it feels like my left rib cage is almost puncturing something or pressing into something. I'm not sure what it would be, if it would be my lungs or my kidneys, my stomach, intestine, I don't know. But that's what it feels like. And it's just a sharp pain that if I move in a certain way or breathe in too deep, it's there all the time. Sometimes it's worse than others, where even shallow breaths are very painful. Other times it's slightly better, and it's just the deeper the breath, that the more it makes its presence known. But yeah, both those two pains are new. I told my doctor this at my physical, this one I had. She did not seem to care whatsoever. Almost kind of blew me off, actually. Yeah, just, she didn't comment on it. She just didn't really say much at all, really. Yeah. I mentioned to her about my x-rays that I had recently, and the fact that I don't know what's going on inside my body from a professional standpoint, because I can't get anyone to read them and tell me what's going on. And she almost yelled at me. And she did scold me. In saying that they've contacted specialists and they just won't return the reply. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm looking at switching doctors because of that. Like, it's been a build-up over the last 2 years, but she's just not a good doctor. Doesn't seem to care at all. And it's not just me. I've heard stories from other people too that are patients of hers. She just doesn't seem to care. And she's very dumb. If she doesn't understand something, she won't try to understand it. She won't care enough to. Yeah. But, you know, with the world the way it is, I can't get into another doctor because nobody's accepting new patients. So, yay. So since not being able to work full-time anymore, which sucks, especially considering I went to school for a trade job that I can no longer do because of the disability getting worse. Disability being scoliosis, obviously. But yeah, it just all kind of sucks. But because of that, I have been in the process of applying for the ODSP, which is the Ontario Disability Supplement Program. You can still work on it. You can work as much as you want, I'm pretty sure, while on it. they take 50% of your earned income from paychecks that you report to them, but they leave you with the first, I believe it's $200 that you earn is yours, and then 50% of the rest of everything they take. And then on top of that, they supposedly give you, I believe it's $100 on top of that, just as an incentive for reporting a paycheck to them. That's what I was told. I haven't been accepted into it yet. That's just what I've been told from my process so far of applying for it. When I first applied, or told my doctor that I was going to be applying for it, she basically mocked me, saying, good luck getting on it, essentially. And kind of dismissed my desire to want to be on it. Now, that's not going to be mistaken for me wanting to be on it, as in, that's all I want to do. Trust me, I would rather be doing the trade job that I went to school for, that I was doing for 3.5 years before all of this. But since I can't work full-time even anymore, I kind of need some kind of income on top of the job that I do have, because I want to work, I want to make a living as much as I can. But I do need more income support, hence the disability program. But she is not very supportive of. So, through this whole thing of me talking to her every time that I do talk to her about wanting to be on it, and then finally coming to her with the papers for her to fill out on her end to apply for it, all she cares about, the only thing that she has mentioned, commented on, asked about, whatever, related to that, is if I have a job or not. I had to have told her 2 or 3 times within 3 days of each other that I had a job, because disability was mentioned by her, and she asked if I had a job. That's the only question that she asked about that. Nothing to do with my health, how I felt, my records, nothing. She kept asking if I had a job, if I currently have a job. Not really sure why either, when she's been told recently that I have a job. So, not too sure, but she clearly isn't happy in her job. She's clearly in it for the good money, and it's frustrating because she doesn't remember what she should. She doesn't stay on top of what she should, and she doesn't care about what she should with the field that she is in. And it's just very frustrating and deflating and annoying when that's what you're stuck with. Someone who doesn't care and who is unknowledgeable. So that physical that I had last week, I was again, conveniently, on my period when I had it. So I had to come back for the part where they, check out the vagina part. So I had to come back when it was done to do that, which was 3 days later. And when I first went for the rest of it, she was already supposed to have the disability papers sent off at that point, that day, after I left. That's what she was supposed to do. So I come back 3 days later for the, downstairs, the vagina stuff, to make sure that's all good and healthy. And she still hasn't sent off the disability papers. I don't even know if she'd filled them in at that point. And she's a doctor, she knows that there are time limits on these things, and that the sooner you can get them in, the sooner, the better, to be approved and whatnot. She just doesn't seem to care. And again, when I was there for that appointment, the only thing she asked about related to that was if I had a job. Would it have made a difference if I said no? And the funny thing, too, is that she doesn't know me very well as a person, a character. Because if she did, she would know that I like to make a living. I want to work. I went to school for a trade job that I just can't do anymore. But I want to work. I'm not, one of those people that rip off a system and play it. Because I know people that do that. And I'm not one of those people, and it's frustrating when you have physical x-rays and your body as proof, and you're still not believed. You're still just ignored. And then there are people that you know for fact don't have any issues, and they're just riding on the system. But anyway, nobody would care about that. I know nobody does. So I just wanted to get my little story out there and yeah, see what y'all think. If y'all have any questions about any of it, feel free to ask. I'm always want to educate people and explain things in more perspective. And if you have anything to say to me about maybe your experience, feel free to. Until next time, bye-bye.